Hi there, welcome back. This is Manteca Lifestyle with Larissa. So, as you are planning your move to Manteca, California, I wanted to share with you 6 things you might want to know before the big move. I moved here just over, actually just under 2 years ago, and so I have finally started going around without my GPS, and most of that was just laziness or I just didn't, I was in a hurry, so I didn't want to get lost. But I said, I'm going to be here, so let me just start going to the places that I'm familiar with, my regular store or my regular errands. So I braved up and I turned off my GPS, and so I'm getting along just fine. So I wanted to share some things with you that you might want to consider as you are moving to these sunnier climes. You already know it's hot, so that's not going to be a surprise. But let's just start with the basics, and I'll tell you that the walk score for Manteca. Now, this assumes that you want to, um, you know, enjoy the quieter lifestyle because it is a little bit. I would say it's quieter. It's good for families. It's good for people who are contemplating retirement, near retirement, or already retired. That's just my perception, as maybe I'm still a newbie, but certainly learning more and more about our little town. So, uh, the walk score ranges obviously that depends on which neighborhood you're in. So, I found that it actually has a score between 38 and 82 out of 100. So, that is really quite a range. Now, where I am myself, there's a grocery store. Is that a block that is not a block, less than a mile away that I can walk to? There's certainly lots of restaurants and other points of interest, but if you just need to run to the grocery store for a second, there's probably one close by that you can walk to. Although 38 to 82 is quite a range, so depending on where your home ends up being, it might be a little bit different. Now, something new I discovered was a sound score. So I thought that might be of interest to you. How quiet is it or how noisy is it? So if you consider a range of 50 to 100, 50 is very loud, 100 is very quiet. And again, so that you can put in your address and find out what your score is. My score happens to be a 69, so that just means that there are a lot of night sounds. Manteca has a lot of trains, so that's a bonus one. That's not one of the six. But anyway, so number two is that you can find out what your sound score is. Um, and if that's something that's important to you, obviously when it's nighttime and if you're just sitting and reading, you're going to hear more than say if you have the TV on or, there's other people in the house, other ambient sounds that might drown out the outside sounds. That may or may not be an issue, but just consider plugging in your address so that you can find out how loud it's going to be if that's a consideration. Now, one of the things that I noticed as soon as I got the keys to my house is that you're going to notice that this is the home of the monster truck. There's so many huge pickups. I don't know what that's about. I was just thinking that everybody was an entrepreneur. Um, so then there's all these monster trucks, and you will find that there are plenty of critters. Okay, so I like flowers, I like plants, so I planted my yard with everything, which was an invitation to things that are flying and crawling. So, however you feel about that, just be aware that they are here. But the other thing that you will notice if you like to walk around as I do, uh, all these little gopher mounds. I mean, I had heard of a gopher, but only peripherally, not something that I had to pay attention to. So between moles, those, and gophers, there's something tunneling, and that you will see all these little hills in the town. So that's not, I don't necessarily think something that's going to impact your decision, but that's what those little brown mounds are when you're driving around and you're wondering what's going on in Manteca. There's an underground population doing things. But one thing that you may be interested in, there are a lot of parks. There are a lot of green spaces. Each neighborhood development has one or more parks. So that was something that really noticeable when I arrived here. So if you like to get out and walk the park, or you want to take the kids to the park, if you have little people in the house or grandkids, who knows, there's lots of places to expend that energy or get your steps in. And then finally, actually not finally, but two more things. I'm going to say that it's still a challenge for me. Grocery shopping is different. So I used to always shop at Target because as they planned it, it was just convenient. I could find 98% of what I wanted at Target, but that's not the case here. I find that I usually have to go to one or more stores to fill my grocery list. So, depending on what it is you're looking for, they stock the shelves a little bit differently here, so that may be something for you to consider on how you're going to make that accommodation, or you just make a change and you decide, okay, they don't have this, and I'm going to go for product B, right? That may or may not be important to you. I guess I'm probably more brand conscious because this is what I grew up with, this is what I've always had, so this is what I want to stick with because I don't want to overthink it and have to decide, okay, should I try it or not? That's your choice. And then the last one that is important is that you are probably going to want a Wi-Fi booster. Signal doesn't seem to be really strong, at least in my location. So just to avoid the frustration, get yourself a Wi-Fi booster when you set up your internet. And then it is all good. So that is 6+ things that you might want to know about your move to Manteca. This is Real Talari, and I will see you next time. Take care. Ciao.